we have named this whole presentation like personalized adaptive learning using AI. So we are going to talk about learning. Okay, what do we mean by learning? Our perspective, obviously. What do we mean by personalized learning, and what do we mean by adaptive learning? And we're going to add all these points together as we go along. And it might sound a little bit complicated right now, but it's actually not. It's just a fancy, complicated name given to a very simple concept. Okay. So I will go ahead with this, okay, and I will try to introduce these things to you. So I would like to distribute this whole presentation into just four parts. Okay. So the first part is why we are doing this, why we are speaking about this, why you are here to listen, okay, why your faculty have asked you to attend this. What is the need of all these things? Okay, because that first, I think upfront that should be discussed. Okay, before we do anything else. So the first thing that should come to our mind for doing anything is why we are doing it. The second is what exactly are we going to do? Okay, what is the protocol? What is the structure? Okay, what is the algorithm that we are going to follow? And how part is like, if possible, I will give you a couple of demos of what I'm talking about. Okay. And then we'll talk about what is the next part. Okay. What is the training part? Okay. That we are proposing. So this is how I'm distributing this whole presentation into quick four, I would say bullet points. Okay. And these are very simple bullet points for everyone to understand. So let's start with why. Okay. Why we are here. And I think most of you have a vague idea of why we are here, right? Everyone has a vague idea. Okay, this is related to AI, and since there is an AI boom, there is an AI wave. So somehow this session is connected to that. Everyone knows, but how it is exactly connected, that is a little bit of mystery. Because a lot of YouTube videos, you can see like n number of thousands of YouTube videos, they're talking about AI and what is going on. So what is different here? Well, there is a lot of different things. Okay, there are a lot of different things here that we're going to cover. So first thing, I would like to, if you're living under a rock and if you're not familiar with what is going on, so I'd like to introduce you to the current state of the world, what is going on. And to introduce you to it, I would like to give you an idea of what an exponential growth actually means. Okay, so this chart here gives you, okay, how much time it took for the company to reach 1 million users. 1 million is 10 lakhs, okay, in Indian terms. This is a US chart, so we'll do back and forth conversions. So how much time it took for a company, okay, how much time it took for a company to actually reach 10 lakh users. And you can see these are some of the popular companies like Netflix. Netflix took 3.5 years to reach 10 lakh people. Okay. And Airbnb, which is familiar among youth right now, it took 2.5 years. And you can see Facebook, which is kind of like a conglomerate. Okay. The whole world uses Facebook. And it took 10 months for Facebook to reach 1 million users or 10 lakh users, whatever you want to call it. And the contrast here is how much time it took ChatGPT to reach 10 lakh users. Okay. And the surprising thing you can see the time required for ChatGPT or the current state of AI, you can say, or large language models, LLMs, whatever you want to call them. Okay. The ChatGPT or the current AI took 5 days to reach 10 lakh people. So you can just compare this ratio here and get an idea of how quickly it is evolving. Okay, so people are quickly diving into it. This is about 2022. So I don't know. I think Chat GPT itself has like 200 million users right now. What I read 6 months ago. So I don't know what is going on. But from a perspective, exponential growth, Chat GPT is growing like anything, or AI usage, I should say, in general, more in general, is growing like anything. So this is a current state. Okay, one I would say a dimension of a current state. Let's look at another dimension. How good is it? Okay, so first is like how fast it is going. So if it is going too fast, that definitely means it is having some advantage. People are using it because people are 10 lakh people used ChatGPT in first 5 days only because there is some use. What is that use? And this is a common statistical chart of the use, which is comparing the two versions 3.5 and 4. But you don't need to worry about that. What you need to worry about is this. If I say to the current generation AI, for example, ChatGPT, or you can take any AI, the variation is, statistical variation is quite less here, so you don't need to worry about it. So if I ask any current day AI, for example, ChatGPT, to give a verbal test like a GRE test. Okay, GRE is a test, I think all of you know. So ChatGPT comes up with a 99th percentile rank. That means 99% of people who are giving the exam are below ChatGPT scores. That means, or you can say, Not exactly, but roughly you can say it is among the top people who will crack the exam. So an AI can crack an exam as good as the top 1% of the people. That's how you can reinterpret it. And you can look for another test. This is a verbal test. GRE is a verbal test, right? It's an English related test. You can go for SAT test and ChatGPT is somewhere around 93rd. If you look at bar test, which is a law test, okay, for this is obviously a US related stats, and they correlate to India with a plus or minus 10% of the error bar. So you can consider US standards right now. So for a law exam, it is somewhere around 90th, which is a growth from 10th. So ChatGPT 3, the earlier version. So 1 year before, you can see the growth of the AI also. 1 year before, it was having 10th percentile rank. And 1 year after, when ChatGPT 4 was launched, it jumps to 90. So that's an exponential jump. It's a quick jump. And you can look at all the things where AI is good right now. Okay. And as you go to complicated things like statistics, psychology, okay, the quantitative part of GRE, chemistry, physics, as things get complicated, calculus, okay, and last there is competitive coding, okay, which is the same thing we do courses on, ironically, but ChatGPT is not good at competitive coding. So right now you can just conclude something like this. If you look at this chart, you can conclude like this, that the jobs which require higher cognitive functions or higher brain power or higher thinking skills, they are yet not replaced by AI. Okay, or I should say, these are the things AI is not going to easily replace. Okay, let's reform the statement. The probability of replacement is not high. Okay, it is low. But these jobs like verbal skills, biology, statistics, psychology, even though psychology is a kind of a nuanced field where you have to, talk very carefully. The psychiatrist has to talk very carefully, but still AI is, acing in this area. And just 20 days ago, I met a radiologist, a person who does sonography, medical radiologist, and he was saying that the young generation is not opting for radiology. So they're not going to the domain which is actually dominated by AI now. So doctors are choosing carefully which domain to choose. Okay. So the first chart basically gives you the exponential growth of it. The second chart gives you how good it is. Okay. It's dominance, how it is dominating the world right now. And slowly it is dominating everything. Okay? And now, a month ago, I think 15 days ago, ChatGPT 4.0 was launched. So I'm definitely sure that these numbers have risen, okay, about this. This is like a 6 months old chart. So again, it is beyond that. And Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, has also said that ChatGPT 5 is on its way. So they've started training ChatGPT 5, and they have hired people who can make that AI simulate in future. So thinking simulation of human brain is going to get added in ChatGPT 5. They have just hired a person from the AlphaGo Google's team. So they're rapidly growing. Okay, so these numbers are going to go higher and higher and higher. Okay. Now, once you look at them, I do have a ChatGPT 4.0 variation where they have this was like 15 days ago, I guess, and most of you, I think most of the students are aware of this, and I've just taken one snippet of it. Okay, so they have shown here like how that AI voice now can add emotions to the voice, how it can modulate the voice, which was not available earlier. And yes, you can think about it that that emotion is not true, but the point is it is getting emotional. Okay, it is getting emotional. I would say it is adding emotional embeddings into the conversational mode. That is what I'm trying to say. So I just wanted to introduce you to why it is going quickly, okay, because how good it is, and now they're adding multimodal abilities to it, right? So now the voice can interact with you, now the camera can interact with you. So it has eyes and ears now, and they're making it better and better, okay? So, at the end of the video, he did say that I'm feeling relaxed, but I don't think we are feeling relaxed, okay? Because from one perspective, it sounds like the technological progress is going on. It's very quick, okay? And it is quicker than we have expected. Even people like us who have expected, we were, doing our master's project in AI 10 years ago, and it was nowhere in the sight that such a thing would happen in the next 10 years. So even with the research experience in the domain, we are surprised, and hopefully everyone else is surprised. So we are not relaxed actually. There is a uncomfortable feeling here. So the uncomfortable feeling, if it is not there, let me invoke it quickly by giving you some prompts about it, is it's a dilemma. Okay. Whether we should be happy that the AI is progressing quickly, or whether we should be scared that it is progressing so quickly that it might replace our jobs. There is a probability that it might replace certain number of jobs in the future. And there are a number of arguments floating around for this debate, and you can go to Twitter and whatever X it is called these days. So you can go over social media and you can find out the discussions, and people are just roaring from both the ends what will happen. But there is one consensus about this in the whole community. Okay, the people of the world, they are saying that sure, the AI will definitely replace the jobs. Okay, but it's more like the people who will adapt to this AI, who will use this AI to their benefit, will survive. Okay, so it's more like a, imagine it's more like a computer. Okay, so if you don't have a computer, you're doing everything manually, and suddenly a computer pops up. So those who learn the computer will survive quickly. Okay, those who won't learn the computer will lose their jobs, and that's an inevitable truth of the nature. Okay, nature itself has inequality in it. So if you don't adapt to this, it's a fear. Definitely it's a fear. If you don't become flexible and change your skills in the way you approach the things, definitely it's going to replace the jobs. Okay, so there is a little bit of fear and scare and dilemma about it. But like I said, I just gave up the solution. Is the solution, I think, okay, this is from a set of group of people who think about this, who had some experience in this. They're saying that sure, there is an AI wave and there will be problems in the job, but the solution is to have symbiosis with the machine. The solution is to don't be scared of the wave and ride the wave. Okay, so imagine the AI like a bull, okay, coming to kill you. So the solution is to jump over the bull and take control of the bull. So what I'm trying to propose here basically is right now, at least at this current stage, we can, okay, although the AI is going to replace, it is replacing, by the way, the clerical jobs are getting replaced right now at this very moment. And I think the TPO department knows this very well because the recession, one of the parameters of the recession itself is the technological advancement of AI. So students are also feeling the heat, everyone is feeling the heat. But I think from our perspective, the solution definitely is to utilize the AI for your benefit. So if the AI is going to kill you, if AI is going to take your jobs, it's better to convert that AI, okay, or take hold of that AI or ride the wave, whatever you want to say, and turn that AI, okay, as your assistant. Turn that AI as your mentor. Okay, use that AI to boost your skills, okay, so that the job replacement will not affect you. Hopefully that makes sense. So the whole paradigm of this session is this. The paradigm of this session is not about why we should be scared of AI, but we should convert that scariness, we should convert that, fear into an advantage. We should utilize that fear, okay, and take control of the AI, learn the AI tools, I should say, in a simpler way, and enhance your skills quickly, okay, and avoid getting replaced. So that's the only thing which is, I think, constructive, okay. So let me reiterate the statement in a simpler sense. What I'm trying to tell you is use the AI as an extension, okay, as an extension of your mind, as an extension of your brain. So your brain does a lot of things. It does some basic things like doing calculations, writing stuff, writing emails, okay, some productivity work, checking CSV files, Excel sheets, maybe it is solving some questions, some basic arithmetic. All these things your brain can do. And apart from that, there is one more thing that your brain can do yet, okay, that AI cannot do, is critical thinking and future simulation. The AI is entering that domain, but I think it would take 10 to 15 more years for that. That's my guess, by the way. So our job right now is to use this AI as an extension of our learning. So we are already learning. So why this session has been arranged for students is that students are already learning. Okay. And even if students are learning with a certain pace, there is still problem of the jobs getting replaced by the AI. So the students getting learning, who are already learning is on the one hand, the AI is, creating problems for the job or, changing the way the jobs are there. What you can say, whatever you want. So these are the two circles that are going. So what I'm trying to tell you is when students are learning something, I'm saying make that learning faster, accelerate that learning. Okay, use an extra extension. So if AI is replacing job, use that same AI to learn quick. Okay, so I'm saying use the AI as a learning extension. This is a term I'm going to use. Okay, so I'm just introducing the term, and the visual representation dictates the same thing that I'm saying. A person is doing some sort of work, and there is an virtual AI there who is assisting him. Okay, her in this case. So your job is to harness the power of AI and use the AI as a learning extension. That's what I just wanted to say here. And what that will do, and definitely, if when you're using AI as an extension, the advantage of AI being an extension is it is flexible. Okay, so let's say some people, they don't like, let's say engineering. Okay, they like art. Some people like visualization. Okay, some people like music. Some people like, I don't know, psychology. Some people like physics. Some people like geometry more than algebra. Okay, and you want to learn geometry but you don't like geometry, so AI is something like it can convert the geometry problem into algebra. If you don't like geometry, it will convert the same geometry problem into algebra problem, so it can adapt according to your needs. So this is a very powerful extension. Like I'm trying to show here is that every lock has a different kind of a key. Similarly, every person has a different kind of aptitude. Every person likes to learn in a different way. Some people are like, they like to learn visually. Some like to learn using algebra. Some like to learn using pen and paper. Some like to learn using watching YouTube videos. Some like to learn by having forum discussions with their friends. Okay. Some like to learn having discussions at the dinner. Whatever it is your way of learning. So a normal, education entity cannot do that. A normal education entity cannot replace all that. A normal education entity can do certain things, and we'll talk about it. But this extension, that is AI, the learning extension, is a flexible. I can tell the AI to, teach me a geometry problem using algebra tricks. I can tell the AI that teach me political science using artistic, interpretations of something. I can tell it to do whatever I want. Okay, and that is the flexibility that this extension is having. So we already have the extension, which is powerful, and that extension is flexible, so it can adapt to your needs. Okay, so for example, let's say you are learning something about thermodynamics and you don't know about basic Carnot cycle, and you just ask, in an online forum, what is thermodynamics? People will tell you you need to learn Carnot cycle. AI will not do that, and AI will tell you, if it is properly flexible AI, it will tell you that sure, you want to learn thermodynamics, first you need to learn Carnot cycles, and here you can learn Carnot cycle. So right now and then, it can teach you Carnot cycle, and you can ask it to, change the way in which it is explained. You can tell the AI, don't explain me Carnot cycle as a mechanical engineer. Explain me Carnot cycle from a physicist point of view. Explain me Carnot cycle as if I'm 10-year-old learning in a school. So that kind of flexibility I'm talking about. Okay, and that flexibility, along with its, ability for us to use it as a learning, along with its flexibility, is definitely going to supercharge your learning. So let me give you the overall perspective of what I'm saying. I'm saying there are some problems in the current world. AI is going to replace job or going to create new jobs or whatever it is. But certain jobs are definitely going to be either destroyed, vanished, or replaced. Whatever is the term you want to use, you can use that. Your job is to use the same AI that is creating problems. Your job is to use the same AI, harness the power of the AI, and supercharge your learning. Okay. And why this works? Because the AI can mold according to your needs. The AI can change its way in which it explains you according to your needs. Okay. And this whole thing of using AI to learn quicker so that you won't get replaced or you get a better competitive edge is what I'm saying, learning on steroids. You're learning quickly. On steroid means you're learning very quickly, or you're learning supercharged, whatever you want to call it, you can call it. Okay. So to summarize, we have just seen the why section. What is the landscape of AI? What is going on? How quickly it is growing? What is the dilemma? Okay, whether we should be scared or not. It will create different kinds of feelings in everyone's heart and head. But the third point that I mentioned is whatever is your feeling, you should be able to use that AI wave, okay, or ride the AI wave and use it for your benefit. And why you can use it? Because it is a flexible extension to learning. It can change according to your needs. Okay, so if you don't know something, it will make sure you know it from your perspective, okay, from your style, whatever you want to call it. And this will create a quick supercharged learning or learning on steroids, whatever you want to call it. And you can then that AI is more like your personal mentor. Like I said, it will satisfy your flexible learning needs. It will give an competitive edge. So if the jobs are getting replaced, let's say after 1 year, if you're using AI to gain more skills quickly, it is harder for you to get replaced, obviously, because you get a competitive edge, you get an advantage in this world. And along with that advantage, you get a job security or a business security. No, I shouldn't say job security there. I should say security in general, existential security. Okay, for not getting replaced by whatever AI is. So the first part is why we are doing it. So why are we here? We are here because we are humans. Okay, hopefully there will be an AI lecture going on for other AIs. That's a different thing, jokes apart. But as a human, we need to understand what is going on in the world, and we need to have a productive way to overcome it. And that productive way, according to us, is to use that AI for our advantage. That's the whole thing. Okay. Now, the second part that I'm talking about is what exactly do I mean by using AI as a mentor, by using AI to supercharge your learning? Okay, what do I mean by riding the wave? What exactly is there in my head when I say that use AI for your specific learning needs? Okay, and here we need to go a little bit deeper, but I will not bore you. Okay, I'll just give you a quick introduction to something. It is a very complicated psychological process, but we have just made it so simplified. Please remember, those who are pedagogy people here, they might be wondering, oh, this is not how simple the chart is. It's super complicated. It has like, I have published 10 papers. True. Okay, we know that. We're just making it simple so that a naive person, a layman can understand what we're saying. Okay, so this is what a process of learning means. Let me explain that to you quickly. So you basically get an initial exposure to something. Okay, let me give an example for this. Let's say you open YouTube. Okay, on YouTube, someone is talking about space travel. He's talking about spaceships and all. So you get an initial exposure. This initial exposure can come from any way. Okay, from any n number of ways. It can come from a YouTube video. It can come from your teacher telling you what space travel is, or it can come from your friend. It can come from your family. It can come from motivation of money. It can come from fear. God knows what. Okay, so initial exposure, maybe you're sitting in a restaurant, you hear a song. That's also an initial exposure. You're hearing the song, and maybe that hearing of that song will ignite you to learn more music theory. Depends, okay, how that initial exposure happens. So when I'm saying initial exposure, I'm saying that certain things, okay, from the world create an impact on you, create an impression on you. Okay. So let's take an example of a YouTube video talking about space travel and aliens. Okay. So you open YouTube, you're randomly scrolling your page and you see a video where they're talking about aliens and civilizations and whatnot. And you get curious about it. Okay. So the initial exposure is exposure to a topic for a number of hours. You watch 10 videos, 20 videos, and then you get curious. Okay. It depends on which topic it is. Let's say if your initial exposure was in music and you're interested to learn music, you get curious about music. If your initial exposure is about aliens and you are, interested in space travel, you will get curious about that. And the same thing happens. It doesn't happen through YouTube. It happens through your educational institutions as well. That's why I have this educational market. So let's say an electronic student is sitting in a second year, okay, and some faculty tells him how a transistor works, okay, how William Shockley created the transistor, or how a transistor is utilized in real world. And people can get curious about it. Oh, so my teacher taught me a lesson for 20 years, 20 hours about transistor. So now you must be wondering, oh, what is the use of it? How do I use it practically? Okay, is transistor useful? What kind of innovation is a transistor? How did William Shockley actually invent transistor? What was the research that went into it? How much money did it cost? Okay, you can have different perspectives regarding it. And these perspectives or these motivations, I'm going to say generation of motivation or curiosity, whatever you want to call it, will only happen if you have an initial exposure. So you can never replace the initial exposure. Okay. So if somebody is thinking, how to use AI tools, maybe I can replace the college. No, you cannot replace the college because this initial exposure is very important. So let's say a mechanical student is there and some of a very good mechanical faculty tells the student what is entropy, what is thermodynamics, whether the flow of passage of time is dependent on entropy. Can entropy be reversed? Why it can't be reversed? So how mechanical engineers reversed it and created refrigerators and air conditioning systems. There can be civil people, okay, they must be looking about seismic analysis. So how does it work? Okay, how the waves propagate, what is Fourier's law of conduction of waves in solids, okay, how to analyze that, how to learn Fourier series. It has a vast, I should say, potential. Okay, what you get exposed to, and that you can never replace. You can never replace an educational institution with AI. Okay, so an educational institute will have an initial exposure on you. So, computer science people will get initial exposure to programming. What is C program? Who was Dennis Ritchie? How do functions work? Okay, what is the syntax? You can think about it, and this is already there since you're students in engineering institute. You have initial exposure. You right now somebody has bombarded you with some knowledge of programming, maybe some knowledge of computer networks, as an electronics, some knowledge of analog, some knowledge of digital. As an AI student, maybe some knowledge of AI, like neural networks and gradient descent algorithms. As a student of, you can say, electrical, like Ohm's law and Maxwell's equation. So this initial exposure is something we are not going to replace or we cannot replace. That's the first point to remember. And with that initial exposure, you generate your motivation or curiosity. I'm not going to be pinpointed here, but the willingness to learn. This is where it happens. Okay. So Elon Musk, if you're opening a Twitter account, you see Elon Musk talking about going to Mars. And then you're curious, oh, what would be the life on Mars be? That is this step. So initial exposure is Elon Musk telling you something, and generation of motivation or curiosity is the next step. You think about going to Mars. What would my children look if they were born on Mars? Okay, something like this. So this is the second part. It is the willingness to learn. You start to think about it. This happens in your brain, by the way. Okay, and I'm representing what is happening in your brain with this light bulb. So this symbol represents the external teaching agencies like educational institutions, like your college, like online education systems, like online courses, like Udemy, MIT OpenCourseWare, Stanford courses, whatever you're learning from, YouTube or God knows what. This is the initial exposure part. Then the thinking part and the willingness to learn. I have to learn something because I saw this. That happens in your brain, remember. That cannot be delegated. You cannot tell AI to stimulate your brain to be curious. That's not possible yet. Okay. So this should happen in your brain. So you get an initial exposure. Now you get curious. Now the third part is here. That is detailed exposure. What does detailed exposure means? Let's say I got introduced to space travel. Okay, and there is a way to get detailed exposure. So I can go to a higher master's degree. Okay, I can go to an educational institute and do a master's degree. Okay, I can go on an online lecture series and do a detailed exposure. But it needn't be always an educational institution here when you're talking about detailed exposure. Let me give an example so you'll get an idea. I will show I will show you real examples later after 10 minutes. Okay, but I'm just giving a simulated example here. So let's say initial exposure was space travel. I saw some YouTube video about space traveling, going to Mars. And now I'm thinking about space traveling for the next 7 days. I'm happy. Oh, what would a spaceship look like? I will have my own spaceship. Maybe I will be the commander. God knows what. I'm thinking something about it. And then, after like 20 YouTube videos and the motivation, now I want detailed exposure. Okay. So I can rather go to NASA, get an admission into NASA school as an astronaut or as an engineer in NASA, which is very hard, or I have other ways. There are like computer games which can teach you how to fly a rocket, like Kerbal Space Program. Okay, so Kerbal Space Program, or there are like n number of games where you have to actually create your rocket. You have to understand the weight of your rocket. You have to understand which fuels are used. You have to understand the technology that rocket is using. You have to understand orbital mechanics, how to fly a rocket. You have to understand how gravity works. You have to understand Newton's equations. You have to actually simulate that rocket into space. Okay, you have to maintain the orbit of that rocket. You have to use thrusters and God knows what. So that is a detailed exposure. Okay, now you're fine tuning each and every point that you wanted to do, and you're exploring more and more and more. Now, this can be done through educational institutions, but it takes a lot of time. This can be done through games or a number of other ways. But the point I'm making here, that is the most essential point of this session, is this detailed exposure can be delegated, and you can get a detailed exposure using an AI. Okay, and this symbol represents the AI part. Okay, so detailed exposure can be taken from an AI, and I will show you some examples. Hopefully, that will convince you. Okay, we don't have enough time, but I will try my best. So once you got the initial exposure and the motivation, you got a detailed exposure from AI. You will use an AI tool for this. You can practice with that AI also. Okay, you can ask the AI to give you a feedback. Okay, what do you think about my rocket if I design it using these thrusters with this Newton of force? How will it work? It will give you something. Then you can ask it, okay, what is the acceleration required to get out of Earth? It will give you something. Okay, it will give you feedback, and you can practice on your skills. So a detailed exposure and practice for which you require a brain and AI here. This is what learning extension means. You're going to use your brain and you're going to use AI also. Okay, to do practice with feedback, and then you're going to apply it. Okay, now whether the application is possible through AI or not depends on this thing. For example, if your application is computer programming, AI can do that. If your application is designing something, okay, AI can do that. If your application is video generation, AI can do that. If your application is physical running, so let's say your initial exposure was Usain Bolt, you thought about you watch Usain Bolt series, you got some lectures about how to be a marathon runner, you thought about it, then you had a detailed exposure using AI, what to eat, what is the nutrition, how to lose weight, and all that things. You can practice about it, but this has to be done in a physical space. AI cannot make you run, all right? So obviously, this is related to knowledge work, okay, where knowledge is used. Physical work is different. So physical work yet cannot be replaced by AI. That's a completely different point. So hopefully this process of learning is clear. When you get introduced to something with your colleges, you get curious about it, then you want more knowledge, which can be delegated to AI, which can be transferred to AI. AI can help you with it. Then you can do feedback, take feedback from that AI and practice with your knowledge. And then you can apply it, depends on which task it is. Okay. So this is a simple process of learning. And this, please remember, the first two parts cannot be replaced. So you cannot replace your engineering education with this. You can try this, okay, but AI is not powerful to do it yet. I think 20 years it won't be that powerful. So that's not an issue. So you get introduced to your engineering subjects, get it introduced to yourself properly, have some motivation and willingness to learn. That obviously depends on how you got exposed. Okay, that is there. I understand. And then how that you can refine that using detailed exposure. Okay, so enough, churning this point. Before I go ahead, I just want a quick feedback in the chat. Was this process of learning understandable? If you think yes, please hit one. If you think no, please hit two. If you think it's confusing, please hit three. So I would need a quick feedback on this before I go ahead. Okay. Amit sir, I think you are getting a lot of replies because you're the host. So hopefully you're getting it right.
Yes, yes,
So if
yes.
you
I'm getting one.
okay, all right. So this is the process of learning. Now, where the point where we are going to intersect this process is at this point, detailed exposure. So I'm going to continue this session by assuming that you are introduced to your engineering subjects. I'm going to use that as an example when I'm going to present something to you. So if you're from electronics branch, you would be introduced to transistor or something like this in your course. If you're a management student, maybe you got introduced to human resource, maybe you got introduced to political science, maybe capitalism, socialism, Adam Smith, whatever. So as per your engineering course, as per your management course, as per your exposure in life, this initial exposure can change, and your motivation must be there. So these two parts are there. We are going to break this chart and insert AI here at this point, detailed exposure. Okay, and I'm going to talk about this now. So what tools can we use to use these AI tools as a learning extension? Which kind of tools are available now? So I've just put some certain examples here. They're not the final tools. Okay, there can be a number of tools. So you can use ChatGPT. Okay, you can use Perplexity. You can use Google's Gemini. You can use Anthropic's model. You can use Grok. Okay, if you love Elon Musk, you can use Copilot if you're a Microsoft fan. If you're an image generator, you can use Dolly. If you want a third-party image generator, you can use Stable Diffusion. There are like 20, 25 tools available now, and each and every tool has its advantage. Okay, and when the time comes, I will talk about it if it is needed. So we want to interject. I'm sorry, we want to intersect this part here, and we want to intersect it with some AI tool. Let's assume any AI tool. Let's assume we're taking Chat GPT, but you need to know what are the advantages of this tool. So, for example, let's say you want to do painting. Okay, you want to learn about art, then the AI tool will be a little bit different. If you want to do something about engineering education, the AI tool will be different. If you want the tool to give you brainstorming, like a management person has to brainstorm. Okay, my two employees are fighting with. Let's say there is an HR manager. The HR manager's problem is like two people are fighting amongst each other and whom to take out of the company. So who is right, who is wrong? So they have each have their own list of being right and wrong. So you have to assess those lists, think over it, and you can use AI to brainstorm them. So that's the part for a management person. A management person, a CEO of a company would require AI for brainstorming. A scientist would need it for precise calculations, programming, and brainstorming. An engineer would need it for practice, brainstorming, and on. So the application of the AI depends on where you are, okay, in which branch you are, and according to your use, you have to choose the model. Okay. For example, Gemini has a larger context window, and we'll talk about this later. Okay. Perplexity is very good for research. Okay. ChatGPT is very good for brainstorming, and we'll talk about them. Okay. So now we are going to intersect the process. Let's assume we have chosen a tool like ChatGPT. The next stage we need to know is about prompt engineering. Okay, and I will show you what this means. This is not something that I have to actually flaunt a PPT and tell you. I will show you practically. So let me give a quick demo of what I'm saying. Let's hope this app works. So I'm using ChatGPT app here to do this. I hope the app is visible. Okay. So let's say, okay, I think I have examples mentioned here. Okay. So I'm saying, you know what is process of learning? You have chosen an AI tool. Now we are talking about prompt engineering, and I will talk about how to personalize it. So that is the part. Okay. So let's look at some examples here. Okay. So let's say you are, mm, so I think electronic students are there, CS students are there, management students are there, a lot of people are there. Let's say you are from mechanical students are there. Okay. Let's say you are a CSE student. Okay. And I want to know something about C. So let's say you have learned about, I will take examples from different domains to show you what I mean. Okay. So let's say you are from CSE. Okay. And you maybe somebody taught you in your college about operating systems. Okay. And they taught you about the kernel, and the device drivers and all those things. Now you can ask this AI. Okay. You can ask it. I didn't understand what the kernel actually is in operating systems. Please explain it to me. Okay. And it will explain. So you know how to use chatbots. Okay. So they will realize the kernel is a fundamental part of operating system, acts as a bridge between software, hardware, and a computer. Okay. So this gives you the basic understanding what the kernel does. It does CPU management, memory management, all this stuff. But let's say your personal need is that you still don't understand what this means. So different people can have different, ways of learning things. So you will say, oh, this is already there in the book. Okay. This is already there in the book. I don't understand it yet. Okay. What does it mean to, be a, where's it written? Okay. It's a bridge between software and hardware. What does it mean? So I can ask another prompt. I can prompt it again. I can ask one more question. I can say, no, no, please explain me what do you mean by the bridge in hardware and software. So this is how you can learn. Okay, now I'm pinpointing it. Certainly. Now it is explaining me what it means by that. Now you can read it. When we say kernel is the bridge between hardware and software, and we mean that it is an intermediate layer that facilitates communication and interaction between physical components of a computer and programs or applications. Now we know that the applications we are running on the computer are communicating with the processor of a computer through this software code. Okay. And some people might be worried, oh, I don't still get it. Maybe uh, I can ask more questions. So you are saying kernel is a software. Okay, maybe you get curious. So something is communicating with the hardware and the application. Is it a software or is it another hardware? You can ask it. Okay, and it will give you the answer. Okay, so kernel is indeed is a piece of software. Okay, so you got your understanding. Now I'm more curious. Okay, let's say I'm more curious. I want to know how that kernel is programmed. Okay, you can stop it if you want. You can read the details, or you can ask it. So which programming language is used to write kernel code? Okay, and you can go deeper. Okay, so kernel code is written mostly in C programming language. That is why C is the most essential language, and people forget about it. But anyways, so this is how you go deeper and deeper, and you learn. Okay, and it has given you a lot of other things to. Okay, low level access. Why C is used? What is the performance of C? What is the speed of C? Okay, now you can ask it. Okay, can I use Java for kernel coding? Okay, and it will give you its perspective. Okay, whatever, and you can ask different perspectives also. Let me show you. Hopefully it runs. Let's do it again. I think it is not answering. Internet is fine. Let's see if it is there. It is not. Let's use the web version. So it's an interesting point that today only ChatGPT servers are not working. Right, Amit sir? Okay. So let's do one thing. Let's fire up another tool. Okay, let's fire up Perplexity. Let's search Perplexity. Okay. So now I'm just changing the tool because it is not working due to some server errors. Okay. So see, Perplexity can give me answers also, right? Yes, it is possible to write kernel in Java. Okay. However, there are several challenges. So really, what is the problem? Okay, for doing it. Now, please look here. What I'm doing. Please look at the presentation here, which is on the left side. You already know what an operating system is. You already have motivation and curiosity to learn it. I'm doing the detailed exposure part manually here by probing the AI. Okay, I'm sending messages to the AI and trying to get that information out. This is called as prompt engineering. Okay, and how good you are at writing those prompts depends on how much knowledge you can get. Okay, or how quickly you can learn. Okay, so prompt engineering is basically a way in which you can ask the AI. Okay, the you can say query, you can ask the question to them. How good you ask the question, what is the quality of a question decides the answer. Okay, that is called as prompt. And learning how to create good questions, that is the art of prompt engineering. Now you can look here and you can understand. Okay, so you want to learn something, you construct a question, you analyze the output, you refine the question, then again analyze the output, you refine the question, analyze the output till you get your goal. Okay, that is what I'm doing. Now let me give you some another examples. Okay, now the chat GP, the perplexity is gone, chat GPT is back. Let's hope. So let's stop chat GPT here. Okay, and let's look at some other perspective. Now we talked about computer engineering. Let's look at mechanical. So mechanical people have learned about thermodynamics, right? They learn what the temperature is. Okay, but let's say I want a detailed exposure of thermodynamics. Let's say I want to know, tell me what temperature actually means. Okay, and I'm sure I've taken a lot of mechanical interviews and electronics interviews. 90% of people don't know this. Okay, so again, it is the average kinetic energy of particles of its substance. So now you can imagine what it is trying to say. It is saying that there are particles like atoms, and the atoms are jiggling. Okay, and they have kinetic energy. And if you take kinetic energy of all the atoms and average it out, that is what is the term we call temperature. So when you're touching an object, actually, okay, we are feeling something on our hand, how the heat waves are propagating. The feeling that we are getting on our hand is basically nothing but energy, kinetic energy of the atoms. Okay, so you can get this idea of what I'm saying. Now I can go deeper if it works. Okay, if the servers are fine. Okay, so let's say then what is entropy? So I'm doing this for mechanical people. All right. So entropy is a fundamental concept of thermodynamics or information theory, often associated with the degree of disorder or randomness in system. Okay. So it has given me the Boltzmann's equation and the Boltzmann constant. All logarithms are used. Okay, but I can say I know this theory. Please explain this to me as if I am a child. Okay, or you can say 5-year-old child. Okay, so now we'll try to explain what entropy is to a 5-year-old child. Okay, so it has said, imagine there is a big box of Lego. Okay, Lego blocks is there. Temperature is how wiggly the Lego blocks are inside a box. So inside a box, if you put those Lego blocks, if you put those Legos and if you juggle them around, that is temperature. Okay, so now it is telling you about entropy. So think of entropy as how messy the Lego blocks are in the box. In the box. So in the box, if the Lego blocks are on one side, that is low entropy. If the Lego blocks are distributed, that is high entropy. And you can just probe it more. You can use more prompt engineering. If you're still not getting it, you can say, I didn't get it. Please give me different analogy. Okay, I'll give you a different analogy. Okay, imagine you have a bunch of toy cars. Okay, now it is telling you what entropy is from a different perspective. Okay, and now I can use this to do a lot of things. And there are customizations available. You don't have to actually probe this. You can personalize this. The way the personalization works is like this. You can create a custom GPT. So what I'm trying to say here is this is the process of learning. The initial exposure and the motivation and curiosity are not going to get replaced. So you need to have this initially. And if you're your second and third year, you must have gotten introduced to a lot of subjects. Okay, so this part is already there from your college. We're not replacing it. The detailed exposure part is how we are using AI tools to prompt the AI to give us more and more information. Okay, so it's like you can imagine the AI like a god. You can ask more questions and the AI will give you more answers. The advantage of this is what I call learning extension. You're using that AI to learn. Okay, this is what learning extension means, what I said in the first part. So the good thing about this is you can use that AI to get the information in a customized way, like I've shown you. Okay, you can tell the AI explain me like I'm 5-year-old. You can tell it to explain me like using different analogy. So you can customize that learning extension. Remember this slide that I showed you initially. Okay, so it's a learning extension and it's a flexible. Okay, it's a customizable. You can change it. That's what I'm trying to tell you here. Okay, so we are going to use that learning extension, which is AI, to get a detailed exposure. Get a detailed exposure. Okay, using prompt engineering. Okay, to learn more, and we are going to personalize it. So this is what we saw in this section. Okay, what is the process of learning? What are the AI tools? How to use prompt engineering? Okay, and how to personalize that AI tool. Okay, so the what part, okay, why we are doing it, I talked about what part is what actually has to be done, and how is actually the examples that I have given. Okay, and since the OpenAI servers are not allowing me to do anything, okay, otherwise I would have shown a lot of funny demos. But I think a couple of demos happened, thankfully. Okay, maybe we can tell it. We can go for anything. Okay, let's say from economics you can do. Okay, you can say explain the invisible hand of Adam Smith from Capitalism. By the way, I think the management students will know this. Right? Explain the invisible hand of Adam Smith in Capitalism. You can say. Hopefully, it will explain this. If the servers are up. Okay, I can just take this, put it in a perplexity. Okay, another tool. It will do quickly. Okay, so it is showing you it is a metaphor coined by Adam Smith to describe how free markets often create incentive of interest in you. So it is basically what when a company is trying to sell you, let's say iPhone, and Apple tries to sell you an iPhone, you demand you need to have a better iPhone. So Apple has a competition with Google. Google and Apple both are trying to sell you their phone, and because both are trying to sell you, and you are the customers. Okay, you want better features. Google and Apple are fighting amongst each other for better product. So the betterment of society happens automatically, invisibly, by the customer demanding more good service. That is what Adam Smith said back in 1800s. So you can learn that. Okay, I already knew that, so that's how I asked the question. But if you didn't know that, you can just ask it to with another prompt to explain it in a more simpler way. And hopefully this one also. Okay. So self-interested vendors, it is explaining the same concept. Okay, so I can give you an examples of different domains. Okay, so I'll give an example from electronics, mechanical. I'll give an example from economics. Okay, and I actually wanted to give examples from different domains, but fine. I think you're getting the point. So this is the whole scenario here. Okay, the whole scenario is how we are going to use AI tools and their customization features to get a detailed exposure to something, learn prompt engineering, okay, and use them to our benefit so that our security in the future, the changing patterns of the jobs, we will be immune to it. Okay, we will survive through that, and that is the part. So this is the way in which I'm presenting it to you. So the final outcome is the training part. Okay, so we are proposing a training here. Okay, to all of the students, and they have to think about this. We will definitely have limited number of entries. We will give you real time guidance regarding how to create your prompts. We will teach you what is the internal details of prompt engineering, like temperature and all those things, right? Okay, how to manage the top P and all parameters of, if required, API also, but I don't think it's required at student level. But we'll teach you in real time how to create those prompts, how to create custom instructions, how to personalize that AI for your benefit. So let's say somebody, and this is not department specific. So if somebody from mechanical says, I want to learn more about, let's say, dynamics or mechanics, we can guide him through that process. Definitely, we won't be able to be knowledgeable regarding that, but we will help him create the prompts that will help him learn through that. Okay, create a learning extension for himself. That's what we are going to do. We are going to teach you how to customize those prompts. We'll teach you about prompt engineering. We will give you the subscription. So, for example, let's say a student is enrolled with us, we will give him ChatGPT Plus subscription for the limited amount of time for which he will be registered to us for the duration of the course, because we need paid resources to understand that. Okay, free resources are very limited, but so we will pay for you definitely, and we'll give you paid resources, and we'll give you practical examples. Okay, and we'll show you how to utilize that feedback to learn yourself again and again. So it has to be a continuous process. You cannot just say that for 15 days I did this and I learned this point and now I'm fine and okay with this. No, you have to do this continuous. Okay, so this is the whole thing. Okay, this is the whole thing, and hopefully I have done my part. Okay, it's a very hard thing to explain because We are talking about learning process and intersecting the learning process and modify it to our needs and use AI tools for that. So it's a bit complicated thing. I've done my best to do the justice to the point. So I would take any questions if there are any questions from the audience.